All right, we are live.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Techstars Startup Weekend, and welcome to our closing ceremony. The judges are currently deliberating, and while they are doing that, we have a few messages for you from our community partners. The announcements will be coming in through this live stream, and we're hoping that we are going to be able to announce to you at around 6:15. This has been an amazing weekend. It's really been a very unprecedented event. The weekend has had a unified theme, and teams have come together across the country to come up with venture challenges to address COVID-19. And we've had an amazing team of organizers. I can't say enough how wonderful it's been to be part of this event. And they've put this together in certainly less than a month, but for the most part, less than 3 weeks. For those of you who weren't on the previous live stream, we've joined a global initiative as part of Startup Weekend. And there are over 70 countries participating, and it's 100% online. So it's something new in these unprecedented times.
Awesome. Okay, well, I will start by sharing our first community message. So we're really lucky that we've got a video here from Kayla Isabel, the Executive Director at Startup Canada. So Startup Canada is an amazing organization supporting entrepreneurs, small businesses, and startups. So they have chapters all across Canada. Startup Calgary is actually one of them. So I'm on that team, and it's just a great landing pad for everyone who participated in Startup Weekend to attend events, engage virtually in everything that they have to offer. So I'm going to start by playing this message. I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, everyone, and congratulations on yet another incredible Startup Weekend, but this time with a significantly digital twist. It's absolutely incredible to see so many leaders come together from coast to coast to coast to tackle some of the challenges that we're facing in light of COVID-19. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Kayla Isabel, and I am the Executive Director at Startup Canada, Canada's entrepreneurship organization. I'm seeing, and as many of you, Canada's startup community is really on the precipice. We know we can't afford to let Canadian businesses, as we know being the backbone of the Canadian economy, continue to decline and hope that we can pick up the pieces later. And we've been hearing this sentiment from many of our community leaders and from many of you. And that's why we're doing everything that we can to put entrepreneurs in Canada in full view of government and of industry. At Startup Canada, we have weekly town halls with local MPs, with entrepreneurs in their ridings. We have weekly calls with Minister Ng's office to bring your voices and your concerns directly to her team. We also are continuing to provide resources, education opportunities, and connections across Canada through our flagship programs, through our podcasts, through our startup chats, through our Women Entrepreneur program for marginalized communities, and through our social impact program. Whether that's also the Canadian Export Challenge, one of our flagship programs that this year is really focused on the Canadian Export Challenge, or looking at how we are recognizing innovators and entrepreneurs with our new awards program, the Cannies. We are continuing to celebrate and recognize the power of Canada's entrepreneurship community across the entire country. And I think coming together in a startup weekend shows obviously how much stronger we are coming together than we are staying individually, geographically disparate, and feeling isolated and potentially alone as we try to navigate this constantly changing environment. We're seeing incredible tenacity and opportunities for entrepreneurs to pivot and grow and mold their ideas alongside in this changing world and through many of the conversations that you would have had this weekend. And it's been incredible to see the support of this community come together. And this weekend, I think, is a really beautiful demonstration of Canada's unity and the unity of our community of entrepreneurs from coast to coast to coast. It's also, incredibly challenging to see so many of our colleagues having to close their doors, put their businesses on hold, or continue to climb uphill just to survive. So right now, we are on a mission to reach every town, every city, every village across the country to light up the nation and recognize the power and importance of entrepreneurship. And in order to achieve that, we really need all of your hands on deck. We want to connect your voices to government, to industry, and to bring those voices across the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem through our startup communities across the country to really both save the existing businesses that we have, but also make sure that the future waves of startups are supported appropriately. And now is the time to demonstrate that need. COVID has really shown how fragile so many of our startups are and how many entrepreneurs have fallen through the cracks through the traditional support mechanisms that are being offered. So we want to continue to help entrepreneurs to start and operate and scale incredible businesses that we know build a better Canada for the world today and for the evolving world over the next couple of years. And we know that we can respond to the challenges that this new world is going to have. We know that small businesses and entrepreneurs are going to lead this post-COVID world the same way that they always have, with incredible ingenuity, with innovation, with grit, courage, heart, and the power that each entrepreneur has in helping to shape the future. And we believe that, we can offer something better than what's already been done as entrepreneurs. So let's get started. Thank you for your continued courage in the face of immense challenge. I look forward to working with all of you collectively to build a Canada for entrepreneurs, where entrepreneurs can be supported from the start. And now is our time to really demonstrate that need and that power. So I hope that the ideas and the inspiration that have come from this weekend can help propel us in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming years as we shift the future of our country and the future of our economy. And I think, the people who participated in this week's Startup Weekends are going to be the leaders of that space. So thank you. I hope you all take some well-deserved time off after what I'm sure was an incredibly intense weekend. And let's get started on supporting every entrepreneur. Thank you very much.
So huge thank you to Kayla. I felt like she was actually here. So I thought that was a really authentic and amazing video and a really great message to entrepreneurs. So next we have Traction, and I'll let Mary introduce that before we begin playing this video.
Yes, Boost AI has donated invite-only VIP tickets to the Traction Conference. The Traction Summit is led by Boost AI, it's held in Vancouver every August. And if lockdown is over by this August, this will be an amazing opportunity for teams to reconnect in the community. And we also just want to say that the Traction Summit will provide an opportunity for our teams to have access to other leaders in the entrepreneurial community from across Canada, thinkers, investors, all of it. So we're happy to hear this message from on the Traction Conference.
If you start with cold intros, you just need a massive top of funnel because there's going to be a lot of fall off. But I mean, I think another thing you can do is just someone in this room, right, has a connection to someone you want to talk to. And it's not that hard to make friends with other founders who have been funded and figure out how to get access to their investors.
Lean in on these brands because that word of mouth thing will just take off once you have a brand. And whatever you can do, protect it religiously.
It's really important to tell a story. Having slides with graphs and words and stuff is not very meaningful. You really have to explain how you're solving the problem and framing the problem in a way that's really engaging, that becomes a narrative, not just a bunch of data.
Through the product, we're able to sell more and more and more, and we're able to drive more and more adoption of the product. That way you don't have to have a person doing the selling. Instead, your product is doing it, your marketing, your education materials are doing that selling for you.
When you're expanding upmarket, hire somebody who has successfully served those upmarket customers that you're going after before and can help you define the blueprint for your company to figure out how to provide the right end-to-end experience for those companies.
We thank you very much. Thank you very much to Boost AI for this amazing prize. That's a wonderful opportunity for our teams. We also have a prize from Startup Grind. Startup Grind is giving top teams, the top 3 teams, access to the Startup Grind Global Conference taking place in Silicon Valley. And our Startup Grind has a network of volunteers all over the world that you can tap into. And our partners from the Vancouver and Richmond community, including one of the mentors of our organizing team, and volunteers of chapters all over the world, are a great source that you can tap into as our teams move forward.
At one point, I really realized I want to be surrounded by people who really want to change something. Entrepreneurs, community builders, people who really want to move something around.
It's truly an amazing experience. For me, it was really a good entry point to enter the startup world. So my background is in finance and investing. I went to the Europe conference in London and then attended my first global conference last year and this year again. I met so many interesting people. If you have any hesitations, you truly need to get connected in your local chapter.
Basically, what we do is try to reach for the best speaker possible that will allow founders to learn. You have to meet a lot of people and you have to create a real connection with those people, focusing on adding value to their lives, but also in learning and helping them in every way you can and to scale faster.
Startup Grind gave me the opportunity to really achieve that. So now I'm running one of the most active chapters in China and in the world. And I am on a daily basis meeting so amazing people, entrepreneurs, investors, corporates. I'm really grateful being part of this amazing community.
San Francisco.
Lagos.
New York City.
Dubai.
Dublin.
Oakland.
China.
So a huge thank you to Startup Grind. This is a wonderful opportunity. The messaging being networking, so our Canadian talent, our entrepreneurs having access to that global network of facilitators and investors and people doing things in their communities is an amazing way for teams to scale and learn from one another.
Awesome. So the next video we want to share, and I also just want to point out, you're probably starting to see a trend here. And I know that watching these videos might be a little bit painful, knowing that we can't actually all go to these conferences right this minute and connect with each other. So I think we're all we're all feeling that. So the next one is Collision from Home. So Collision is a global conference, and we've been lucky enough to have it supposed to be hosted in Canada, started last year in Toronto for the first time. So this conference brings out thousands and thousands of people. It is a great opportunity for companies to exhibit. I don't even know how many companies get to showcase at Collision. And, we're really excited that Collision is, moving their usual programming, which would have been held here in a few short weeks in May. So we just want to give you a sense of what you have to look forward to during Collision at home.
Hi, my name is Casey Lau. Welcome to my living room here in beautiful Vancouver, Canada. You might know me as the co-host of the RISE conference in Hong Kong. But for the next few months, I'm going to be the host of Countdown to Collision from Home, our weekly show to keep you updated on what's happening at our new at-home conference coming to you in June. As well as giving you updates on Collision from Home, I'll also be checking in with our speakers, startups, and investors to see how they're doing during this global crisis. We've announced our first 350 speakers. You can see them all at collisionconf.com as we're announcing new ones every day. Speakers that have been confirmed so far include Aaron Levy, the co-founder of Box, Jonah Peretti, founder of BuzzFeed, Hillary Coles, the co-founder of Hims and Hers, Rich Pearson, the co-founder of Headspace, and from Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister himself, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. So as you can imagine, it's a massive challenge of bringing an entire live event online and have it feel natural and connected. But the entire Collision team is working really hard right now to make that happen. I think what we're building is something truly exciting, and I hope you'll join us in late June. Let's go to Toronto and meet up with Managing Director of Techstars Toronto and the co-host of Collision, Sunil Sharma. Sunil is kind of sad that we won't physically be in Toronto in June, but he's very excited to split some virtual poutine with us at Collision from Home. Sunil, how are you doing right now? What's going on in Toronto?
Hey, Casey. Yeah, so things in Toronto have been, for the most part, going quite well. I would say the tech industry has shown an incredible degree of resiliency in the face of the pandemic. A few of the companies definitely have announced layoffs. There have been some downsizing and quite a few people let go in some companies, particularly in certain industries. Obviously, retail, restaurant tech, anything hospitality, travel related has been difficult. But overall, I think things are working out relatively well for the ecosystem. There have been companies that have actually been adding people. Some of our large industry companies, such as Shopify, have announced publicly that they're continuing on a hiring spree and continuing to grow their companies, particularly in key areas.
You're also running Techstars Toronto. How's that coming along?
We are operating as planned. Although we have shifted to a virtual model at least for the time being, but we've made our most recent class announcement of investments. Quite excited by those companies. A few of them are still planning their travel to Toronto, so it hasn't quite been possible for them to come yet, but we're in the interim, we're operating remotely, and it's been working relatively well.
And what about any startup investment news coming from your network?
Several companies that have been able to close investment rounds, even in the past 2 or 3 weeks, which I think is quite exceptional given the circumstances. And I know of a few more companies that have closed their funding as recently as today. And those announcements will be coming fairly soon. So for the most part, things are going well as we continue to be entirely a work from home workforce here in Toronto.
That's great, Sunil. Definitely keep us updated with what's happening in Toronto.
On another note, I've really been quite impressed by the degree to which the tech community has managed to stay connected in spite of all the disconnection over the course of this pandemic. There's been a tremendous amount of interactions that I've seen online through virtual events, through normal messaging, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. So I feel like everybody is very dialed in right now, working hard, focusing on the future, focusing on the things that they can control. And despite it all, and despite, basically there's been no interaction physically, obviously, here or anywhere else, and no visits to the office, no events, no face-to-face meetings. But I think that there's a level of connection that's managed to persevere through all of this, which is keeping the ecosystem moving forward. I think the tech industry in Toronto and across Canada already had a lot of positive momentum. And I feel that momentum is continuing through the use of technology and tech platforms. And in fact, I've heard quite a few people say that they feel even more connected now than in the recent past. So there is just more time online and more time interacting and more interactions with people that I think people don't always get a chance to speak to one-on-one or in groups. And so as a result of that, I feel there's a level of cohesion here that's quite inspiring, and I think it bodes very well for the future.
Thanks, Anil. Feeling more connected at a time like this is something really great to hear. And I'm really happy that technology has a part to play in this. I was in Hong Kong back during SARS in 2003. And while we did have the internet, my mobile phone looked like this. And you can imagine I was really, really good at Snake by the time everything went back to normal. Sunil will be back on next week's episode to talk to some of the startups that were at Collision last year and see how they're doing right now. I wanted to find out how investors are doing at a time like this. And so we're going to bring on Edith Young, managing partner at Race Ventures. She's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening down in Silicon Valley. Hi, Edith. Tell us, as an investor in Silicon Valley, what are some of the meetings that you're having right now, and what are some of the trends that you're seeing?
We, being early stage funds, we're really particular on pay attention to a lot of many trends, and we're particularly bullish on fintech, enterprise, SaaS, developers tools, and we think that there's a lot of really exciting opportunities that's because of the virus. And basically the way that I look at it, I would almost treat this as there are so many behavior being changed right now. And I'm not sure about you, but I've been basically being at home for the last 4 weeks, and a lot of behavioral change. So regardless of us Zooming all the times, but we're really bullish on sort of collaborations, a lot of video infrastructure enabling technology. We think that there's going to be a lot of security, data analytic, open data. We think that there's a whole new generation in terms of enterprise tools. If everybody going to be staying at home, not your workers staying at home on customer service, and all your customers sitting at home, there's going to be a whole new sets of tools, maybe new CRM, new ERP, all these like automations, or sort of like the traditional management of enterprise software support system will be all different. I think certainly today I did get a pitch for limo services, and I think that's probably a very tough time. I think any industry that relates to offline education, sort of in-person entertainment, in-person education, a lot of these is going to have anything to do with travel or personal services, business services, where you need your face-to-face. They will have a very tough time. And of course, we get a lot of pitches around, hey, there's a lot of we're producing masks, or we're developing certain like biotech, or certainly gaming and online entertainment. And there are amazing businesses, which I'm very thankful that they exist. But at the same time, like really kudos, we need more and more support on the biotech and healthcare side. I think biotech is definitely not our sweet spot, but if your system focuses on healthcare, we're super welcome.
Great to hear that you're looking at enterprise startups in this vertical. But on the flip side, tell me a little bit of what's happening with some of your portfolio companies.
Well, it's definitely not easy. It's a very tough time for all businesses, but it really depends. So some of our enterprise company. They focus on selling to traditional businesses, and they certainly are having a tough time. Some of them and say, hey, can I delay payment or maybe stop our POC from now? And many of the traditional business, can you imagine if you're selling to a restaurant right now, you will have no business. So B2B is tough. B2C, surprisingly, we have a couple of companies where I was worried because they sell to traditional businesses, but they were able to like react really quickly and start having a sort of the online version of it. So one of my companies, they are amazing. So they are actually a basketball AI app, and now instead of like the physical training, they're now like sort of enabling all the virtual experience of it. So individual can upload their video, started to have various different exercise, and I think this is like the best time to see some of our portfolio companies get really, really creative to basically move some of this experience from offline to online. I think that is exciting to see. And this is one of those times where, you know, the best CEO will show their true color, and you will see like who will be the strongest can survive. But it's definitely not easy.
Now, besides investing, you're also helping build startups. You're actually hosting some events in Hong Kong to help build the startup community there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, so last year, for some of you probably know, like I'm born and raised in Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong, and similar to Casey, we've both been contributing to the Hong Kong startup community for a long time. And I was actually very sad about all the Hong Kong protests and from last year. And long story short, we think that my two co-founder of Founders Hong Kong, including Alfred Chung, which is the founder and CEO of BEA Systems, and also Norma Chu, who's the founder of Dated Cook. All three of us really want to help and support the startup community and want to do more. So it's a nonprofit that we put together, and we have a very strong mentorship. The whole goal is actually connecting Silicon Valley and Hong Kong startup community. I didn't know before, but there are hundreds of amazing technologists and investors who are Hong Kong born in Silicon Valley, and all of us really wanted to support. And many of the startups in Hong Kong need the help, like from product management to marketing to fundraising. So my founder story is actually a series of events, online and offline. And we wanted to share some super practical news, and we'll do more and more of it, like to have office hours, to sort of really connecting the dot, make all the resources in Silicon Valley available to all the Hong Kong founders.
That's great to hear. I'm going to put the link to that down in the description notes so other people can take a look at it. Okay, lastly, let's leave you with a little bit of fun. What's the one pop culture thing that you think really defines the situation we're in right now? Is it something like Tiger King? Is it Animal Crossing? What is it to you?
I refuse pop culture. I refuse to watch Tiger King. I think the trailer is kind of weird. I have experienced Zoom bombing when I was doing a Zoom call with Kara Schwissner, and it was very, very strange. But I still do not get the toilet paper ordeal, and I think the best thing is for all of us to try quarantini. So that's my favorite.
Okay, quarantini it is. All right, that's great. I'll get the recipe from you for the next episode.
That's it. Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Edith. Stay safe, and I'll see you very soon. Now, Edith says she refuses to watch Tiger King on Netflix, this kind of show that's taken the world by storm. The video of people fighting over toilet paper was the weirdest thing I would see, but I guess Joe Exotica beats that. But just how much are we watching right now? I'm bringing on my next guest, who is the founder and CEO of Watch Mojo, Ashkan Karbas-Fushan, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening in his world right now. Hi, Ash. Thanks for being on the program.
It says Captain Morgan, but it's just coffee.
Ha! Well, we wouldn't blame you if it was Captain Morgan inside that mug. Tell me, what's happening with you personally and at Watch Mojo right now?
I always tell everyone that it's kind of like Thanos snapped his finger, and either you were in the half of the population that was affected overnight, suddenly, dramatically, and your business ceased operating or was forced to cease operating, or you're like the spared, the fortunate ones who have to rebuild. So obviously, as a digital company, we were lucky to, be able to continue to operate, but we did have to adjust. So personally, as a CEO, I already started to delegate years ago. So whether we were at the office or in this work from home formation, my days are obviously very different than others. It's a lot of, frankly, problem solving, checking in with people. If there's a bottleneck, how do you kind of blow that up and try to get everybody to move forward? There's a lot of, even when you're working in an office, there's a lot of people working on different projects, and sometimes they're not aware of what the others are doing, and they should be chatting. So doing that at home just adds a level of complexity, but it's not like we work in a manufacturing plant where it's draconian or different. I'm also doing a little bit, I've started as of last year doing a little bit of investing and advising and coaching and mentoring and just keeping making sure that people stay positive. So spending a little bit of my time on those meetings. Taking a step back, I think you're seeing a divide between those with kids and those without kids. I think those without kids, it could be more of a 9-to-5 business as usual kind of setup. But I think those with kids are essentially tripling up and being employees, parents, and teachers. So, I have a couple kids. My wife and I started the business together, and we've always had a kind of divide and conquer outlook. And even now, we kind of split up home duties to some extent to make sure that, we don't forget our kids, but also we're pretty lucky our kids at 12 and 9 don't need constant supervision. I've seen a transition from emails, GChat to maybe just getting on a phone, voice call, just to set the stage, put context, and then maybe follow up. So it does change a little bit communication, but I find it does create opportunities. And then finally, the key is if you want to operate, it's not really business as usual, because going back to that Thanos, half of the world survives, half of the world doesn't, has to figure out what when they could get back and in a normalcy, which is going to take time. I think you recognize that there are opportunities and you want to keep working. And even if your intentions are good and you want to help people, you don't want to seem opportunistic. So you're trying to show compassion and be sincerely sympathetic to other people's plight. But when you reach out, it's not business as usual. So you do have to check in and make sure people are staying healthy, staying safe, staying sane.
So are you happy or not happy, but mildly exuberant of what's going on right now with everybody at home watching all this online content?
It's funny. Everybody says that. Everybody's like, well, you must be happy. And I'm like, are you crazy? Nobody's happy that there's a pandemic. But, I get the point that they're making, which is sure, people are staying home. They're not working. Maybe they're consuming more content, and that's a fact. But look, realistically, your viewership is up. Ours is up, sometimes 30, 40, 50%, but monetization is down. The reality is, over time, there are going to be winners propelled even faster, quicker out of the gates. Amazon is one of them, and Zoom has been widely cited as another. But the entire travel category, which is 10-15% of advertising spend, is not advertising. And even ironically, let's say you are Microsoft and you have Azure, your cloud-based platform. Well, you may stop to advertise because you're getting more demand than you could fulfill. So it's a mixed bag. I don't think that the drop in eCPM is made up by a rise in viewership. I think ultimately in the near term, everybody is affected, whether or not, again, some are affected overnight suddenly, or you feel the ripple effects over time. It's the same thing. We, being a Canadian-based company, we're headquartered in Montreal, but our audience is predominantly American, so our revenues are in USD. The USD is a currency that represents security, and there's always a flight to quality in uncertain times, and these are uncertain times. So I think that formula is rise in viewership, drop in eCPM, strengthening of USD. So we do feel some negative effect, but not as much as most other companies. So I definitely don't want to be complaining at all, and we're counting our blessings to remain operational.
That's fantastic. I look forward to catching up with you. But as I leave you, can you tell me maybe what are some of the things that you learned that you think a founder CEO should know and you want to pass on to them?
I would say one is perspective. We're being asked to stay at home. We're not being asked to go fight some wars. Your kids are going to be fine. We all went through, whether it was Challenger or 9/11. This is different. Nobody could tell what the impact is going to be. But, you have food, shelter, electricity, iPads, internet. So it's still not like we are in war conditions, no food and whatnot. So I think perspective is key. And, if you were affected and your company was shut down or you lost your job or as an entrepreneur, I mean, the reality is I think entrepreneurs over the last decade have had it pretty easy. It's been like the strong bull market where the big buyers have just made, frankly, startups almost too easy. Capital's been too easy to raise. So you have to look at it as, if you go into the school of leadership, your usual startup is basically, your undergrad. If you hit some rough waters, that's your, master's degree. Well, this is the PhD of leadership school. So I think it's just, you do need to have perspective. Second one for me is balance. I struggle with balance. I work a lot and whatnot, but I think it just goes back to show that, especially now if you're working from home, particularly if you have kids, you need to balance things out. And even it gives you perspective that not everything is urgent, not everything is critical, and you got to pick and choose, not just your battles, you got to pick and choose like what you want to bother you. And then the third one is, again, I think this concept of opportunity. There's Lenin, whom I don't love to quote, but Lenin said that war served as an accelerator of events in history. Whether you want to say COVID is the new war, is it the Great Depression, is it the Spanish flu? I mean, it's all of that, right? It's a different thing, but there's elements of all that. And it will accelerate things, and it's going to create a lot of opportunity. And I think so long as you do things in a tasteful and kind of mindful way that people have been affected and people are in shock. I mean, it's not like people plan to imagine Disney, right? Disney never thought they'd be in this position. All their product lines have been kind of ceased to operate, and same thing with others, entrepreneurs, investors. And so, but I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I think you have to remember that that's ultimately what entrepreneurship is about. It's where others see threats, you see an opportunity.
Thanks, Ash. We'll see you at Collision from Home. Okay, that wraps up this episode of Countdown to Collision from Home. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll tune in again next week. I leave you with this, our final segment. It's called Elevator Pitch. Basically, I'm going to give a startup 60 seconds to do an elevator pitch to tell you what they're doing. This startup is from Lithuania, and they just raised $600,000 for their travel startup. Please welcome to the stage, Eddie Travels, and I'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Adamas from Eddie Travels, the AI travel assistant. Over 2 million people are using Eddie Travels to find the best travel deals on Facebook Messenger, Telegram, WhatsApp, and Slack. We have developed a unique natural language processing system so you could talk with Eddie Travels like with a friend. Just send a text or even voice message to Eddie Travels and simply say what you are looking for. In just a few seconds, Eddie Travels will analyze the message and will come back with the best flight or accommodation offers from one of our partners, such as Skyscanner, Kiwi.com, Emirates Airline, and others. Recently, we raised a pre-seed investment round of 1.1 million euros, and now we are working on adding coronavirus alerts and other travel safety features to help those people that still need to travel. For now, please stay safe at home. But if you do get bored, explore the best flights to exciting travel destinations at eddietravels.com. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. We know that that was a long video, but I think there were a lot of really strong messages shared in there. And, I think we thought we could get away with a whole live without all the COVID-19, I guess, puns or whatever you want to call it, quarantinis and Tiger King and all of those things. So now you know, but you've also heard a lot of really real stories about what startup founders are going through right now, what the investment landscape looks like. So those are all really important messages. So Collision's releasing videos like this. It sounds like weekly, if not more. So we just suggest that you follow them on social and stay up to date with what's going on there. So we're getting very, very close to announcing the winners. But before we do that, I'm just going to share a few quick things in terms of the what you can expect next, looking at the community. So really, this is you're wondering what you're going to do after this weekend is over, you have so many opportunities to make connections. So we have a community partners list up on our community page on the website. So that's a really great place to go check out all of the partners and all the resources that are available to you. And make sure you also connect with the judges, mentors, and organizers on there as well. Weekend's been you can continue building community once this weekend is over. So the next thing I just want to share is a couple more examples of resources that you can tap into. So first of all, we've heard a lot about Startup Canada, but again, we know that this is a great national event, but you can interact with all of your local chapter leads as well. So Startup Calgary is one. We've had Startup Vancouver, Startup Montreal, and Startup Edmonton all as community partners for this event as well, and lots of other community leaders. So don't forget to do that. The next one is in terms of funding. So Innovative Solutions Canada, they are running challenges right now. So if you're looking at, and specifically around solutions for COVID-19, so this is a great opportunity and potential next step for you if you're looking for support with commercialization. And they're also supporting with testing and validation of your prototypes through that process. So that's a great one to tap into. And then if you're looking for opportunities to work in tech, perhaps Startup Weekend was your first experience in the tech community. For a lot of people, it often is. There's two places to go. So one is Prospect. Prospect.fyi, and that site publishes jobs for tech companies in Canada only, from 5 to 1,000 employees. And in response to COVID-19, they've also launched a help list. And the help list is job opportunities, events, certain perks and discounts, all specific to responding to this global pandemic. Last but not least, don't forget to tap into the global Techstars community. So you've all really had a chance to experience and see all of the different resources that are available to you, including the network. We've built a national network for you, and that's only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to Techstars. So just know that now you're part of this amazing global community. There's all sorts of events and resources on their website, and hopefully once we're back to enjoying in-person events, you'll be able to attend a local startup weekend in your city or town. Next, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen for a moment so we can take a pause to refresh our deck and get ready to announce the winners of this evening's event. We also have Bruno, who's waiting and about to join us. So he's one of our judges, and he is with Techstars Montreal AI Accelerator. So he will be coming in here shortly.
Hello, everyone. Had I known I would be doing this live, I would have gotten a shave and a haircut. But this being an online quarantine thing, I guess this is the good image for the times.
We're all on the same boat. It's okay.
There you go. So I have the honor of announcing the winners. I can tell everyone who participated that this has been a very tough deliberation. I think every judge had something interesting to say, something positive to say about pretty much all teams that we saw at the end. It was a tough top three to give out. But this being competition, a choice needed to be made. So let's go ahead and present the winners. So do we put a slide, or should I just talk about the team and
you can just go ahead and talk about the team. I'm actually just having some problems with my deck right now and some freezing as soon as I tried to refresh. We have some slides coming. So actually what I will share is, if you don't mind, I know we have you on here, but Mary and I, we're just going to go through a few more congratulations. We have a cool photo of the attendees on Zoom. So we're going to just quickly run through those. And then I may need to quickly refresh the deck again, if that's okay. Sorry, I know we're bouncing around a little bit here, but
hey, Bruno,
I'll let you take this one away. And yeah, I don't know, Bruno, if you want to even give just a congratulatory message and maybe share a little bit about even your experience and what you kind of think of the ideas that you've seen so far. And sorry, we're just trying to load this up here.
So as Danielle introduced me, I'm the managing director of Techstars Montreal AI, which is the Techstars program running in Montreal. Startup Weekend is part of the community part of Techstars. There's also 50 accelerators worldwide. We run this one, 10 AI-focused companies running in the fall. So over the weekend, we had the chance today to see many pitches, many presentations. It was fun. It's always surprising to see how much teams get done over such a short amount of time, and seeing how the companies were able to do it now, this time being dispersed rather than in person, I think is a good example of what you can achieve with remote teams. I will finish saying before I go on to the winners that the Startup Weekend is interesting because whenever we interview companies that apply for Techstars, one of the things we always want to hear is how the teams were formed, how people got to work together. We want to see people who's the company they're applying for a Techstars program is not the first time they work together. And you would be surprised how often Startup Weekends come up as how the co-founders met them. So the idea they're pitching for the accelerator might not be the idea they worked on, but that's how they found people that they worked well with, that they wanted to build a real company with. So as I'm not sure how everyone is serious about the project they presented, but the teams and the bonds that were formed over the weekends, those tend to last. Hopefully that this is what happens to you.
Thanks, Bruno.
Okay, sorry, we're just we're trying to populate the winners here. So this is the challenges of hosting a virtual startup weekend.
Should I just talk about them and name them, or do you want to have the slides back? Or
if you can hold tight, we just have some fun photos of their team, and I would show the other slides in the deck, but I can't open it up without being able to update the other ones. So, okay, I guess we are good to go. I am just gonna cue this up then.
So Bruno, I'm just going to kind of riff a little bit on what you said in terms of startup and teams and participants. Coming in to have fun, but it's amazing what they accomplish under pressure in that amount of time, how they come together as a team, and how much learning takes place. So it's everything from how to work as a team and how to code, how to validate a business model. So maybe you can say a few words about that in terms of what Startup Weekend means to some of the participants, or what you've seen.
Yeah, well, there's I think the Startup Weekend gives a very condensed view of how a team, what a startups might feel like, how a team can just get things done super fast. And for a lot of people that aren't working in startups or working in bigger companies, that this experience shows them how quickly in just a single weekend they're able to get something together. And people oftentimes are surprised because they would have taken weeks to do this in their normal job. And that triggers the temptation or the need to say, well, should that be my full-time occupation? So if having a taste for what rapid execution in a startup environment can be in this 54-hour time span is what gets people to jump from whatever job they have to being an entrepreneur, then that's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are ready to rock and roll with the winners. Last but not least, so we just had one final thank you. I think we've thanked a million times, so I'm going to get straight in, but I do want to just share this fun photo we took yesterday. This was during our check-in. So we did a quick little video call, and it was actually the first time that we got to see, all the participants got to see each other on camera, not just who was in their respective teams. It was the first time a lot of the organizers got to see them. So we just wanted to share that because we've kind of said that this has seemed at times, it can feel kind of like a faceless event because you're not, you're all chatting over voice calls. So we just wanted to share that. But I will let you take it away with the announcements here.
Okay, so I guess we're starting with number 3.
Yes, correct.
So the third company is one that a problem that most judges felt at some point, being people that travel often, and again, a solution that is addressing a problem that is true in in normal times, that is even bigger now, is when you need to travel and knowing information and getting assurance of the destination you're going is safe. So in third position, we have HealthBot.
Woo! Awesome.
Awesome. Cool. And we will just share their team photo as well. So we had them take some Zoom group photos or share their headshots. So say hi and congrats to the HealthBot team.
Great. So just reminding the judging criteria that like problem impact, execution, design, originality, feasibility, business model. So this is really the 5 things that we rated, and the winners you see are the ones that we feel executed the best on those 5. Number 2, number 1, I think really stood out in terms of quality of the presentation. We all felt that their pitch was both of these teams, it was really good. Both of the teams, I think, were able to do a prototype or an MVP over the weekend that was a little step higher than the other ones that we saw. So on execution and design, they did really well. The second position was addressing a problem that, again, exists in all time, but is unfortunately even bigger during this time, the problem of domestic violence and the need for shelter for people, and how these shelters, when they're overbooked, there's the need for a solution for people to go. And that's what Pharos, that team at number 2, came up with. So congratulations to Pharos.
Woo! Awesome. I'll pull up their team photo here. This is the crew. Congratulations, guys.
Way to go.
And gals.
And first position, this is a tough one to announce. Again, a very good presentation. Also a team that was able to create a prototype over the weekend that was functioning, that was interesting, addressing a really real problem. Although the hurdles to actually deploy that are not insignificant, and that those came up in the Q&A and triggered some answers that we felt were good from the team. So in first position is a team for Rest Assured.
Yes, way to go, guys.
Awesome. Okay, that's our crew. That's our first place team. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Bruno, I don't know if you want to say any final words to wrap up on your end, but otherwise, Mary and I can wrap things up whenever you're ready.
I just want to say that to the other 10 teams, that 17 that made it to the top 10, while we were deliberating, there was at least 1, if not 2 judges that had you as a top 1. I think we heard all 10 teams mentioned as a top team. So congratulations on the work. Everyone did something that was interesting. I can think of like those who got a lot of mentions. Well, I don't want to name names because we have the top 3, but let me tell you that in the 7 others, we were all excited and impressed by what you did. So congratulations. And if we see some of them that there's the seed of a real business in there. So definitely encourage you to continue working on it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to have, one of the judges and also a member of the Techstars community and Canadian community come on and share a little bit about why those selections were made. And yeah, we just really appreciate the time.
It's a pleasure. And I'll say thank you to all the organizers, Danielle, Mary, and everybody else, Rob. Yeah, thanks for pulling that off. Startup Weekends exist because of volunteers. So congratulations on your time and all the effort you've put in the past few weeks to make that happen. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, round of applause for the organizers.
Huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we've gone through this a couple of times, but for those who are new to the stream, we do want to share a little bit about the Techstars Global Prize. So essentially the first place winner now, so they are, Team Rest Assured is heading to the global finals. So once those finals happen, there will be 20 teams that are selected from that pool, and they will be accepted to the Techstars Innovation Bootcamp. And then from there, those top 5 graduates will receive a $10,000 grant from Differential Ventures. As well, we have tons of amazing local prizes. So, you know, everything from being able to participate in person and at home. I think that's going to be super exciting for those teams. We have some of our co-working partners on board, and we have also some really great service providers who can help out with web development, legal advice, and so much more. And we also have the Logic and Floater founders. So those are both two kind of essentially like media partners, so access to subscriptions and support through those communities as well. So thank you so much for contributing those to our teams. And don't forget to stay connected. So we obviously have our Startup Weekend Canada, our SW Online Canada Twitter profile. So we've been posting there all throughout the weekend. We've been tagging all of our mentors, judges, organizers, even some of the teams who have created their own social media accounts. So make sure you head on over there and start connecting with those people. Head to our community page. We've linked to it all over our Twitter feed as well. That's where you're going to see the full list of judges, mentors, organizers, and community partners where you can connect with them. So don't forget to do that. And then, of course, make sure that you're following Startup Weekend on all of your channels. So Techstars runs those accounts across Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. So that's where you'll see updates and sign up to receive updates for when Startup Weekends are happening in your local community, because we hope you just had an awesome experience and that you are eager to participate in one again very, very soon.
I just wanted to follow up on Bruno's comments about all the teams. So huge congratulations to all the teams. Really, you were part of something very special this weekend. We came together as a country with a united theme. We worked across 5 different time zones. We encourage all of you to continue with your entrepreneurial journey, whether it's this idea, the idea that you developed here at Startup Weekend, or another idea. And please stay in touch with us. As Danielle said, plug into your local communities. And it was to say it was a lot of fun would actually not be saying enough, but it was a super learning journey for everyone. So congrats to all the teams.
Yeah, and if you are participating and you want to continue in the fun, we apparently have an after party happening on Discord. So join us there. They're just setting up an after party chat, so keep an eye out, but we'll be posting it on announcements as well. Yeah, just keep connecting with everybody. Again, there was everyone did post to the introductions channel. So if you're looking to connect with attendees via LinkedIn, that's where you'll find that. Judges and mentors and organizers on the community page. And I think with that, we can wrap a super amazing first ever virtual Canada-wide Startup Weekend.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you all
so much.